That's that's 6 damage.
1 plus strength.
So 6
Score.
damage. He's bloody.
Yeah.
As you return,
Adrex doesn't want to kill him.
as long as you're dealing in bludgeoning damage, you can choose for it to be non-lethal.
Yeah, non-lethal. It's all right. Second attack, because this
Well, as
guy's
long as
clearly
you're
going to be a problem.
Punching him and not clawing in his face. You're fine.
Yeah, just punching him. That is a 13 to hit.
13 will hit.
All right, and it's another 6 damage.
And your second punch catches him in the gut, and he goes crashing back against the wall. And you hear a second crack as his head hits the stone. And then he just slumps to the ground, unconscious but breathing.
Wendy shouts back, "Good diplomacy, Adrex!"
Why are they always like this?
Is that the end of Adrix's turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Wendy.
Yeah.
You billowed last round, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Oh,
didn't
no,
need
I
to.
didn't.
You don't need to.
I super did not. Yeah.
I need you to make either strength athletics or dexterity acrobatics. Actually, no. First, the thing starting its turn in Hunger of Hadar. So what do I need to do there?
Take some d6s of cold damage.
It's 2d6 if they start their turn, and 2d6. It's cold damage start of the turn, acid damage at the end of the turn. So
Okay.
4 cold.
Okay. Now, Wendy, I need in either strength athletics or dexterity acrobatics.
All right, that's acrobatics,
Okay.
and it is a 22.
22. I need another one.
All right. And it is a 16.
16 and one more.
And that one's a 19.
19. This thing lashes out. You see 3 of these snake heads. You don't see anything, but you sense 3 of these snake heads lashing out. One of them coils quickly around your wrist. You manage to slip free of 3 of these grab attacks. And yeah, you're pretty sure if one of those had landed, they would have dragged you down into the Hunger of Hadar. And then he's ending his turn in the Hunger of Hadar.
Some more d6s.
8 acid.
They
All right.
made acid damage.
That's going to bring us to the Orc's unconscious. It's going to bring us to Raazu.
So I'm going to move up next to Wendy at the edge.
Okay.
And I would be at disadvantage if I were to go at it with either the trident or the whip, would I?
Correct, because you can't see it.
But I could hit with either of them, right?
They're both reach weapons, yeah.
Well, the trident does not reach.
Well, trident's not reach.
Wrong
No.
weapon.
To attack with a trident, you'd have to actually. Hunger for is what, a 20-foot radius?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, then you're not attacking with your reach weapon unless you want to actually wade into the Hunger of Hadar.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. Let's see. I'm going to Divine Sense.
Okay.
And until the end of my next turn, I can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell and or the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover.
Just on a hunch, because you felt this thing press onto your mind in a way the other snake monsters you've seen in Zastal Mustki had not.
Mm-hmm.
And it is definitely fiendish in nature. Specifically, you get the same feeling from this thing as you got from the Hydroloths you met.
Raazu turns to the others. I think this is one of those monsters in the Lab's Brothers or something. I don't know, but I get the same smell off of it.
All right, well, be careful. It's grabby.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
So, Raazu, are you staying next to Wendy?
I'm gonna back up.
Okay. It's going to bring us to Birdie.
I'm just going to arc a short bow shot down in there.
Okay, go ahead.
That would be 14. to hit.
Okay, you do roll at...
Oh, right,
Disadvantage,
disadvantage, because I can't see it, yeah.
Can't see it.
So that would be a 11 to hit.
11 doesn't do it. So you launch the arrow and you see it arc down into the blackness, but don't hear a response. Moving or staying put?
I mean, I'm just going to sit down, wait for the Hunger Hadar to kill it. It's fine.
Okay. Wendy.
All right, I'll whistle a tune and shoot down a couple more sharpshooter shots.
Okay.
All right, that's a 14 to hit.
A 14
And a-
does not hit.
17.
17 will do it.
All right.
Narrowing it down.
Oh, wait. 15? I'm sorry. We'll go with the 14. Don't worry about it.
Did you math incorrectly?
I mathed incorrectly. I didn't do my pluses. I'm bad at pluses.
Wait,
It's
so you
fine.
got a 15 instead of a 17?
Instead of a 14.
Oh, then both of those shots hit then.
Oh, well,
Yeah, you
great.
connect with both of them.
Our ability to suss out AC is only because we can't do math.
It's only by cheating. That's a 53 magical piercing.
I think
I need
That's-
Raazu and Wendy. Everybody else is relatively far away. Or farther away. To make me dexterity saving throws, just the two of you.
Thanks, Raazu, for being
you-
close.
Yeah.
Really? Red isn't in that?
Raazu
We got
dragged
dragged
Red
back.
away and then left him and then went
Oh,
back.
she went back? Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
That's an 18.
That's only. That's a 5.
A 5.
Yeah.
Wendy, as you lob some shots down into this pit, you hear this screaming sound intensify. And you hear something snap. It sounds like a metal chain giving way. And this torrent of these writhing snakes come firing out of the pit. In all directions, landing at this around the sandy base. Wendy, you dodge out of the way. Raazu, you are knocked prone. And you are... No, just knocked prone with all of these snakes writhing on top of you.
Yeah.
The snakes seem to be impossibly long. And there's the back ends of them still trail back into the darkness of the Hunger of Hadar. On the far end of the pit, you see the same kind of phenomenon. Snakes launch in that direction, slapping against the earth. But those ones are immediately dragged back in the darkness, as the ones on this side are lunging forward.
Okay.
Wendy, moving or staying put?
I'm gonna move over to Raazu.
Okay.
But that's all. That's all my actions, Raazu. I can help you
Alright.
next turn.
Red, you're up. And you are no longer blind.
Was it just the one orc?
Well, there were two
Yep.
originally, but one of them is no longer with us.
Okay.
Is
The one and the one that is no longer with us got eaten. It's not the one that was knocked unconscious. Right?
That one's extremely with us. He's all over Adrex.
Okay. What type of action is it to restring my bow with this magical bowstring I got from the orc dam?
It's just going to be a full action.
That will be my turn then. That'll be my action. I am going to give Raazu advantage on her next attack against the snake nearest to her as a bonus action. And then with my movement, I will scramble 15 feet up this slope to get a better shot.
Okay.
Put it
Adrex.
right down that bowstring.
Let's do some snake wrangling.
Okay.
Go over and start stabbing at some snakes. The ones that they're on top of Raazu?
Yeah, these snakes came launching out of this pit, and Raazu wasn't able to get out of the way, so she's been knocked prone.
Let us assist Raazu then.
Okay.
Stabbing some snakes. First attack.
Snangling.
Not the right key. That's the right key. That is a 21 to hit.
That'll hit.
That will hit for... Oop. 9 piercing and 8 fire. How do these snakes feel about fire?
They did not seem to enjoy it.
All right, cool. Because I got a second attack.
Oh, actually, before we apply
Ooh.
any of this, you hadn't made a saving throw against the confusion yet, had you?
I hadn't.
Okay, go ahead and make that saving throw.
You do close in to near Raazu, so you do get +4 to this.
What am I rolling for?
It's a
Ooh,
wisdom saving throw.
wisdom +4. Indomitable.
Red made it on a 14, I think.
Dominable.
Clearly, very dominable.
My favorite is when the roll is the exact same number. At the 10.
So,
At the 10.
unfortunately, Adrex, you don't get to find out how they feel about fire, because you close in close enough to see these things writhing all over Raazu. You freeze in your tracks, confused.
Yeah. All right.
We will try to get Adrex, I think.
Should have just stuck to punch on orcs.
Adrex,
You're
I'll
good at that.
let you oppose the grapple that it's going to try to do,
All
but
right.
you have to do so at disadvantage.
They're still in the Hunger of Hadar, aren't they?
Yeah, go ahead and apply that damage, because the main
Alright.
mass of the thing still is, yes.
12 cold.
Nice.
Disadvantage.
Hey, same roll.
I have a 16, Adrex.
No good. That is a 23.
Alright, you are grappled by one of these arms and
No, I
dragged
rolled a
down
23.
into the Hunger of Hadar. Oh, you rolled a 23.
rolled-
I rolled a 23.
Okay,
yeah.
then you're fine. You don't get grabbed. You're not even sure you are getting grabbed. You see the lollipop move towards your face, but it's one of like the gross root beer flavored ones. And you're like, ugh.
I love how
Raazu,
Bricker just assumed he was going to fail. I love it.
I have a strength athletics roll or dex acrobatics. First, you need to beat an 8.
I probably can do that. I'd have to roll less than a 1. Yeah, okay.
And then you need to beat a 13.
Hey.
Yep. There we go.
I see now that I should have given this monster the grapple on successful attack
Grapple on hit.
effects. I'll know
Oh,
for
then you'd
next
have to
time.
hit Raazu's AC. That's worse.
I don't know. I have. It seems like I have no difficulty hitting Raazu's AC most sessions.
Yeah, it's because you're always throwing dice at me.
It's gonna bring us to Raazu's turn.
At the end of 11 acid at the end of the turn.
11 acid. Okay.
I'm gonna pull out my trident and I'm gonna swipe at the thingy that's next to me. One of these snakes happen to move to stand up, of course, and then go and attack. That is a 13 to hit.
13 will not hit.
How about, since I have friends near me, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to save face. Just from my mental image, I've got Reds near me. I think everyone's near me.
Everybody
actually.
can see you for purposes of your saving face.
Okay, then so
The
that's
power of friendship.
yeah, the power of friendships. That turns that 13 into a 17.
Okay.
And sorry to blow our cover, guys, but I'm putting some stank on this.
The power of like 3 friends and Birdie.
So it's gonna be. I'm gonna put a spell slot on this and cause a thunderclap.
Okay.
Could start raining.
Well, it's gonna be.
Are you
yeah, the
confused,
thunder.
Adrex?
So that 5 is the piercing damage. 5 plus 3 is 8, and then the thunder damage is 27. I did add some d8s on top of that because fiend.
There is a loud thunderclap that shakes the area, and some loose stones and earth shake loose of the wall and the hill that you're sandwiched in between. This writhing mass of snakes that Raazu has pulled herself up and disentangled her from falls to the ground, and the blackness of them starts to melt away and seep into the sand, leaving trails of this sickly, oilish liquid draining down into this sandy pit.
Okay.
And after a few moments,
second-
Adrex, you shake off the confusion.
That was
Okay.
weird.
We
I
need to
felt like
move.
not fighting.
That made a lot of noise. We need to move. Razu's already grabbing Adrix by the arm and dragging him to skirt the skirt the pit.
Oh, there's no skirting this pit. This pit is at the narrowest point in the ravine, and then the Hunger of Hadar is even wider than the pit itself.
Is the hunger still up?
Yes. Until Birdie says it's not.
I mean,
Birdie dropped the hunger.
Birdie, drop it. We need to move. I made a lot of noise for that.
yeah, okay. It's dropped.
Okay.
I'm gonna slide down and take a look at the edge of the pit from the hillside.
Looking down into the pit, which you can see clearly now that the hunger is gone, in the center, I mean, first of all, you see this massive bones, and including the freshly broken bodies of this goat and this orc that were dragged down. And you see large bites taken out of them. You see where they've been crushed and mangled. There are 2 large metal rings in the center of, poking up straight out of the sand, with chains spread through them. And these chains are crisscrossing what looks to be the desiccated body of one of the abominations, one of the big snake men. I think you guys, you fought one on the bridge last session.
Yeah, we did.
Long dead, his mummified, just desiccated remains stretched out between all of these chains, which are pulled completely taut. One of the chains in the center you see has been snapped in half.
Move back to the orc. Adrex, can you get him on his feet? Make sure he doesn't bleed out.
I could try. I don't know.
We need to move. We need to move.
Just prop him up and let's go.
Raazu can fire him and carry him.
Just leave him here.
Well, let's see what he has to say for himself first. We can get if one of you can wake him up.
Are we still on initiative? Because I'm not leaving this thing here.
No, we're not on
We
initiative.
need.
I'm
need to
absolutely
move.
going to keep shooting at this thing.
And so you start peppering this desiccated Yuan-ti body with arrows.
Raazu.
Until whatever horrible thing is in that pit stops moving,
Oh, it already
I'm
has.
shooting arrows at it.
And
Oh,
now
it
it's,
is?
and now it's mostly just the stains that this oily black liquid is leaving on the sand as all of the ragged
fantastic.
snake parts have melted into it.
Okay, I knew
Raazu-
the big mass of snakes had died. I didn't know that thing did. Got it.
Raazu walks over to Wendy, grabs her by the arm, and says, "We need to go now."
All right, you're the one who made this problem. You can deal with it. And Wendy shakes her off her arm.
Adrex slaps the orc.
Okay, you trying to wake him up?
Yeah.
And eventually he comes to, and he's got a big bruise over one of his eyes where you've clocked him.
I'll
Adrex
ask
is
him in
making a
Yuan-ti.
really kind of face.
I'll ask him in Yuan-ti, what were you doing here? Who ordered you to come here?
And when he sees how outnumbered he is, you see all the fight go out of him. Red, he answers you, and he gives you the name of one of the Malisons that he works for, and kind of shakingly tells you that they draw lots, and whoever draws the short pick has to come out and feed. He uses a word for monstrosity, which is kind of a bad word in the Yuan-ti culture. Like, this is something you would call somebody if you meant to enrage them. You wouldn't call this to somebody's face. You'd call it to them behind their back.
And how many others? Is this the only one?
He says that the Malisons tell them that they have many of them, and that if they don't perform their tasks admirably, they feed on disobedient slaves.
How many of them have you had to feed?
He admits that this is his first detail. He'd never done it before.
So you don't know the locations of any of the others?
And he shakes his head wildly.
Alright, you didn't see anything here. I would try and find your way back into the slave pits in an hour or two, maybe when that bread riot is quieted back down.
Red, that's all in Yuan-ti, right?
Yeah.
And Wendy will say, Red, tell him to let them know the matriarch is dead and we killed whatever it is in this pit. It'll cause more chaos.
He'll probably get punished if they find out that whatever was in this pit was killed.
He'll probably get punished if they find out that he didn't tell them what the truth.
Just keep your head down for a few hours.
And then you let him go?
Yeah.
He casts his last glance to Adrex before he picks himself up. What does Adrex do?
He's just flexing.
Adrex has no idea what was said in the conversation, So he just goes, "See, I told you." In common.
And when he sees that Adrex isn't barring his path and isn't moving to punch him again, he does kind of scramble to his feet and make his way back in the direction that you came from.
All right, are we done? Can we go?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, let's go.
And what's the plan? You guys are going to enter from the water here?
Well, is there anyone on lookout when we come back here?
I mean, you haven't seen anybody patrolling the walls the whole time you've been here, unless they were just happen to be exiting or entering one of the buildings built into the walls. You hear the sounds on the other side of the wall, and it does sound pretty chaotic. There is nobody else on this side of the wall when you arrive.
All right,
you guys
Raazu,
want,
why don't we duck under here and do the same thing we wanted to do on the other side, and they can go grab the scientist.
Go grab Tetsushi. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Rick, what's this?
What's what?
This right here is this like ravine
Just a
or whatever.
cliff face where this lower area where the taskmasters are and where this island is sits lower in elevation than the rest of the compound. So you have these two large stone stairways that climb down amongst the waterways.
All right. In that case, yeah, let's go. Come on, guys, I got the key.
Okay. Lead the way.
You guys are using the rivers to get where you're going?
Yeah, it's the straightest path, to be honest.
Wait, is everybody going together, or are we splitting up at this point?
I think we're splitting up.
Yeah, I think we're splitting up. I think you deleted Adrex's token, and now he
totally
doesn't have
did.
one here.
We don't need
It's all right.
Adrex's token.
Just duplicate the initiative token.
He's only astrally projecting anyway.
That's true.
That is true.
Adrex failed his roll, and he's gone.
So the
None of
three
us
of you are
noticed.
headed towards the tower?
Yeah.
Raazu and Red, where are you headed?
We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna get some cover. Actually, honestly, once we're on the other side of this, being at the bottom of the canal, it'll be out of sight, like just 20 to 30 feet away from the building. It'll be fine
Recall
with me.
that this entrance is not in use by the Yuan-ti, and they have actually seemed to have cemented it shut. It cannot be
Right.
opened.
I think we could just.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go underwater and start doing the legend lore stone
Okay.
on this whip and flute.
The idea being you want to try to figure out how it works?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the plan when we started.
It was a good plan.
Let's get a stealth check from Birdie, Adrex, and Windy to get where you're going.
Did you catch the VOD from last session, McDohl?
Interesting.
Because if you're in heavy armor, you got to roll at disadvantage.
18 for Bird.
18 for Birdie. Windy,
20 from Birdie.
how'd Adrex do?
14.
Does anybody want to use any of their stealth points on that?
I'll use 2.
Birdie uses 2. Windy?
Yeah, I'll use 3.
Adrex.
And refresh my memory, it's not a 1-for-1 thing. It's just... It's...
It's nebulous.
Gamble
It's a
up to
nebulous
5
thing,
of them. You currently have 20. You haven't spent any.
Yeah, I haven't spent any, so let's do 5.
Okay. As you guys come up towards the base of the tower, there's a loud splash just behind you, so just upstream behind you, as 2 bodies are thrown into the water. One of them is one of the goblinoid slaves, a bugbear. The other one is one of the Yuan-ti, one of the purebloods. And for a moment you see them struggling together in the water, but the bugbear lands a blow, and the pureblood begins to bleed out, stops moving. The bugbear then begins struggling with the weight of it. You see that he's wounded as well, as he's trying to reorient himself and get himself back above water. And that's when he turns and spots you all coming up towards the base of this tower.
Man, I spent 5 points on that.
Yeah?
Can I?
Which is why
I'm
he's
gonna-
alive and not the pureblood.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the pureblood off of him. I'm not leaving him here to drown.
You're going to move back towards him and wrangle this pureblood off?
I was
Yeah.
just gonna cast water breathing on him and keep going.
If you're doing that, fantastic.
So, Wendy, you help disentangle this bugbear from this pureblood corpse at this point. Make a... Well, at first he thinks you're acting aggressively towards him, and he begins fighting you off. How do you respond?
I'm just gonna like kind of dodge his blows while trying to get the bugbear off of him.
You mean trying to get the pureblood?
Pureblood off of him. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
You separate him from this corpse, and then you back away. And the rest of you see him start to swim up towards the surface.
How injured does he look?
You see a gash open on one side of his body, but I mean, you've also fought alongside bugbears yourself. You know that he can take more punishment than that. He looks like he was probably one of the men in the fighting pits.
Alright, so he's fine. He's not bleeding out or anything. It's not a fatal blow.
I mean, it's very likely that he goes back up the fight to his death. But
Yeah.
so the riots are going swimmingly. I mean, you guys are entering into the base of this tower.
Mm-hmm.
Birdie, you come up to where you have another archway underneath the stairs that lead up into the main door of the tower. You could squeeze through this archway. It's very similar to the one at the entrance of the temple that you entered before. Your companions would have great difficulty getting in here. Your other
Could they
option
do it,
is
though?
to... Windy, maybe? Adrex almost certainly not while wearing all of his armor.
It's fine. We can pop up. We got the key. If you want to go in from another spot so that they only think there's two of us, Birdie, it's up to you.
Okay. I'll go in through the bottom while they go in through the top or wherever they're going.
Birdie, make me a perception check.
I'm really good at those. So that is a 21.
You come in underneath the ground floor of the tower, and the waterway continues. You feel the current kind of speed up a little bit as the water starts heading downward more swiftly. The stone channels that dig the canals inside of the fortress give way to more natural walls. Right where this decline starts to happen, though, you see the rounded stone edge of what looks like the bottom of a well, leading directly up into the tower. So you're able to pull yourself up. You see the flickering of lights from the base of the water when you look up into the room. You pull yourself up out of the water?
Yes.
Make a stealth check.
That is a nat 20 plus 13, so 33.
You find some large handholds in the side of the well and very carefully pull just your eyes and ears out of the water. So you're still a good 4 or 5 feet from the top of this well that's built into the earthen floor of this tower. And you see dangling right next to you, very close to banging your head on it, is this bucket that they can drop down into the well to draw water from. And you listen, and what you hear is Yuan-ti speech inside of the tower. But it's not coming from one of the snake men. To your ears, it sounds like a goblinoid is speaking it. Maybe a hobgoblin or a bugbear or something. And it sounds very mocking. You're not sure what he's saying, but it sounds like he's saying it sarcastically. And he's saying it to the snickers and titters of whoever else is in this room. You count maybe 4 or 5 people in this room. Without pulling yourself up and out of the well, you couldn't know for certain, and doing that will immediately reveal your position.
Well, I have backup coming in, so I'm going to actually pull myself up. And as stealthily as possible, try to peek over the edge.
Well, I see what you're doing there.
Okay, let's roll some initiative. I need more colors.
Wow. I need to move.
I need to take Raazu off this list so he doesn't get confused. Probably red too.
The red one can stay where it is, I suppose. So, Birdie, all you're doing is pulling yourself up out of the well?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I'm going to kind of hang over the lip and peek.
immediately, they notice you. And you startled all of them. They were not expecting a kobold to come climbing up out of their well. You see a bugbear. He's holding one of the Yuan-ti scimitars that you've seen these Malicens fight with. That's coated in blood. The floor of the inside of the ground floor of this tower is just packed earth. It's not a stone floor. There's a stone spiral stairway leading up to the second floor of the tower, which you know opens up out into the tops of the walls. On the ground is the Malicen that he's taken his sword from, with this grievous injury across his neck and chest, and he's bleeding out and fading very quickly. He has two other slaves in here with him. An orc and a goblin, both unarmed. All four of them turn to face you. The Malicen laying on the ground, he's got his arm clasped across the wound of his chest. And you surprised all of them. What do you do?
I pop out and look at the unarmed. I give a little wave and a jaunty bow.
A jaunty bow?
Yeah. And then just hop down and I ask them, what is the professor's name?
You're looking for...
Tatsushi.
Yeah, Tatsushi.
I'll ask him Tatsushi and then kind of point around like I'm searching.
Make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Ooh. So that's a 15.
Okay. And right now they look too startled to answer you. You just come up out of their well. So the bugbear does not get to make a turn. Wendy, from your perspective, Birdie has disappeared in the water, and a few moments passed, and then all of the muffled noises you were hearing on the other side of the door completely cease.
All right, let's bust him through this door.
Okay. And you will have
By
to
which I mean open the door, not bust him through the door.
Okay.
I'm not an animal.
And you will have to billow to see inside of the ground floor of this tower.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so inside, the rest of you are... who's with you? Adrex can see the scene that I've laid out. You're seeing the back of this bugbear, this orc, and this goblin facing the well. Birdie's up there giving a jaunty bow. And there's a badly wounded, dying Malicen laying on the floor.
All right, well, seems like they've got that taken care of. That guy's not in a cell that requires a snake key, so I'm going to go up the stairs.
Yeah.
You're going to start heading up the stairs?
Yep.
Okay.
There's no, like, downstairs, right? Like, there's just the well?
I guess you could count the well as being downstairs.
Sure. A down well.
Apparently I got that game for free, but I haven't tried playing it yet.
It's a good game.
Is it?
Yeah, it's fun.
I want to grab that flip grip to play it.
You go up to the second floor of the tower, and it's only maybe 20 feet in diameter, so pretty narrow. The second floor is split in half with heavy iron bars. And laying on the ground in here is a second dead Malicen. Very near to him is a small table where scattered about is a small amount of foodstuffs have been toppled over. There's a door, an iron bar, essentially like a cage door with a lock. And then on the other side of this barred passage, you see stairs continuing up to the third floor of this tower.
All right, I'm going to wait over here for my companions because I don't want to just blast that door open and have these guys come up from downstairs to go murder my scientist.
Okay.
I need that
Adrex,
scientist.
Yeah.
you're up.
Scientist murder.
Let's mosey inside.
You mosey inside.
Punch out your horse.
How charitable is Adrex feeling? Adrex is in a charitable mood. He sees the gash on the bugbear.
Well, this bugbear doesn't have a gash. No.
Oh, I thought you said he was bleeding out.
The Malison on the ground is bleeding.
Malison is bleeding.
Oh, well, fuck that then.
Yeah,
Adrex
fuck
just
that
gives
guy.
a knowing nod and walks upstairs.
Walks up the
Like,
stairs.
what's up? Yeah, like he owns the joint.
Good malice and murder.
Give it an 8 out of 10.
And it's going to bring us back to Birdie.
Birdie will wave, give another bow, and then follow them upstairs.
Okay, you're going to invoke 2 attacks of opportunity. I have
Can
a
he-
natural 20.
Can he non-cipher cunning action disengage there?
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
wasn't
say no
expecting-
because he wasn't expecting anybody to
Yeah.
attack him.
Right. No, I wouldn't have done that anyway.
I was expecting someone to attack
Birdie,
him.
you kind of
idiot.
watch as in the moments these guys are startled, Windy and Adrex move behind him and get up the stairs. You hop down off the well and you start jaunting past. And as you do, this bugbear brings this scimitar down on top of you.
This is going white.
Oh, I'm rolling the wrong die type. My bad. Scimitar's not D10s, believe it or not.
It is if I get one. Eventually. One of these days.
Bunch laying around dead Yuan-ti. They'll just scoop one up at some point.
Just be careful where you hold it. Oh,
No, I
wait, you
just
don't
need
have
to
to
be
be
higher.
careful.
Birdie, 16 points of slashing damage.
I'll uncanny dodge that down to 8.
Would assume you would. As this bugbear interposes between you and the stairs and cleaves downward with this scimitar, the orc standing next to him gets his attack of opportunity. I have a 18.
That'll do it.
Make either
Say
a
that the
strength
natural 20.
athletics or dexterity acrobatics to oppose that 18.
That is 15 plus 9. 24 acrobatics.
24. As this orc lunges forward to try to grab his arms around you, and you manage to just slither down to the ground. The goblin doesn't move to strike you, but you see him fumble around on the ground for a minute as though looking for a weapon. And he finds essentially an eating knife, like just a steak knife laying there. And he holds it menacingly and grins. You can continue with your turn now.
All right. Birdie will kind of scamper up the stairs and turn around and draw his bow and shoot the. You said it was an orc that had the scimitar?
The bugbear has a scimitar, the orc's not armed, and the goblin has essentially this dining knife.
Okay. I'm just going to scamper up the stairs and shoot the bugbear with a bow.
Okay, go ahead and roll that.
That's only one. This bottom one's the one I want to use. Okay. So that's a 17 plus 9. So
Of course, he
20.
picks the one with the higher die total.
Well, I said bottom before while they were rolling.
He did say bottom while they were rolling.
But so that's a 26 to hit.
26 will hit.
I mean, he was going to hit either way. Let's be real here.
Yeah, that was
9 damage.
9 damage.
Excuse me, 10. That's 11 damage piercing magic
Okay.
because it's +5, not +4.
And he is
plus 1.
bloodied. His neck very quickly sprouts an arrow. And I'll tell you this, he's no longer grinning or laughing.
And I give him a rude gesture as a free action.
Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, he's going to go ahead and attack you. He doesn't like the fact that you just shot him with an arrow.
Well, he attacked me first.
Yeah, but he thought you'd be an easy kill. I have an 8 to hit
No,
and an 18 to hit
that does hit.
for 11 points of slashing damage. As he steps forward with
It's
this
his
wicked
lanky arm.
scimitar. And again, this particular scimitar is not poisoned, which is probably good for you. So you started to climb up the stairs, yes?
Yes.
So he can't get further than a few steps up around. Windy, You hear the sound of what sounds suspiciously like somebody picking on your kobold coming from downstairs.
Somebody slashing my kobold. I'm gonna head back down there, see Birdie with a bow out getting stabbed by this giant freaking bug boar, sigh, and then kick the bugbear in the head.
Kick the bugbear in the head. Picturing Gwoo's face. I bet.
Let's do a double kick.
Oh wait, she can't see Gwoo's
Oh
face.
man! It's a good thing I got frickin'
Flurry of blows.
Flurry of Blues. I mean, I am blind, so fair enough.
And
That might hit. I've got a pretty big plus. What's a 12?
12 is... yeah, 12 will hit. He's not armored.
Alright. That's 7 bludgeoning damage.
And you kick him in the face. And you hear the scimitar hit the earth below as he goes crumpling backwards, landing on top of this squealing goblin who's now trying to crawl out from under the bugbear towards the open door.
And I'll shoot an empty-eyed glare at the orc, grab Birdie, take him under my hand, and walk back upstairs, closing the door.
Okay. Adrex.
Adrex goes back down the stairs, says, "Hey, stop that!" and follows behind Windy and Birdie.
None of that. Shame on you.
The orc very nervously reaches forward, puts both hands on the scimitar that the bugbear has dropped and drags it away, and then very quickly makes his way out the door. When that happens, you hear the Malison on the ground is wheezing something in the Yuan-ti language.
Are you freaking serious? Are you alive?
He's been alive the whole time.
Are you been alive the whole time?
The one
I'll-
downstairs, the one upstairs is definitely dead.
I'll head over there. I'll say, "Are you Tatsushi?"
You're speaking in common?
Yeah.
You see that he doesn't, not sure that he understands what you're saying, but he does hear the name Tatsushi. And he repeats Tatsushi, and he glances up the stairs. And then he holds his hand out, holds his hand up in a fist, and he says something in Yuan-ti, a single word. Make it just an intelligence check.
Alright.
You've traveled with Red for a long time. Let's see if this is a word you may have picked up.
I love intelligence.
Hey.
That's just a 10. Straight 10.
A straight 10?
Yeah.
At first you're not sure what he's saying, but he repeats the word slowly a second time. And then he says a word in common that you definitely don't understand, but you piece it together. You think he's saying key.
Mm-hmm. And I'll look down at him, and I'll take out the key.
When he sees that you're holding the key, he opens up his hand, and he slumps back on the ground. Speaks something in his own language again, and then closes his eyes and dies peacefully.
Okay. Well, I don't know who the hell that was, and I don't know what happened there. Let's go. And Wendy goes up the stairs thinking to herself, that is going to bother me all freaking day.
When she comes up, Birdie's complaining loudly at Adrex. This is what I get for trying to be nice and polite. Never again.
I saw him by Adrex, he was being a jackass.
I was
He was
not.
bowing.
Red,
Yeah.
using legend lore on these objects, are you focusing on the whip or are you focusing on the panpipes?
They're not a set.
They are, but they're two distinct items.
Let's do the panpipes.
Okay.
I have some idea what those... Actually, no, let's do the whip. I have some idea what people think the panpipes might do.
Okay. You get glimpses of the ritual used to create this whip, where a disgraced Yuan-ti, a Malison, who has committed some sin against the city, His punishment being that he is stripped of his titles and his slaves. And you watch as his flesh is torn from his body. It's a slow and agonizing execution. And something about the manner of this betrayer's death powers the magics that are then forged into this whip, which is made out of snakeskin. You become aware of how to use the whip. It does require an attunement slot to attune to both the whip and the panpipe at the same time.
One total or two?
Just one total. One for both of them. Because they work in tandem. The whip, when cracked, to your ears will sound like a standard whip. To the ears of any slave bound to this stronghold, with the marks of the Malicens or matriarchs herein, the whip will sound extremely loud. They'll be able to hear it even from miles off. The panpipe, you were told by Pacdot, is supposed to exert some sort of control over the slaves when used. So putting it together, you see the whip to get their attention, the panpipe to drive them to do your bidding.
Okay.
And when you snap back, having been in that familiar but also distasteful mindset, even for just a moment, even magically, it feels like you're coming out of a very weighty headache. And Raazu, as you're standing guard, well, Raazu, are you down in the water with him?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, you have no idea what's happening up outside of the water. But yeah, Red eventually comes out of the legend lore and explains to you what he saw.
Okay.
So it would take an hour in order to use these.
Not much time that we have, but we might have to take it if we want to make any use of it.
And what's next for you two?
Does it require that it be attuned to a Yuan-ti of this city, or is it anybody can do this?
Did I learn that?
No, it doesn't matter who attunes to it.
Okay.
You're sure that there are people, especially in the temple, that are probably already trained how to use these items.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been at this for 10 minutes. The others haven't come back yet?
Not just yet.
What do you think? Should I start, or you start attuning to the whip and pipe and hope that the others get back here with the scientist? Or send word back to us? I haven't heard. Did you hear the... Oh.
And as you're having this conversation in the water, the whole world suddenly brightens as you see a huge gout of flame lick up from inside the wall. So probably right over the top of this wall right here.
I think you, but but to answer your question, I think you did leave the horn with Windy.
Right, but she would have blown it thinking that I could hear it. Unless maybe she tried to blow it once for each of us, I don't know. But you didn't hear it.
No, I didn't hear it.
I was in a trance.
Let's go investigate that.
Investigate that fire or investigate?
Yeah, it looked like either looked like some kind of fire got lit or there's an explosion or something.
I mean, it definitely didn't look like an explosion. It looked like a gout of flame spurting up from the other side of the wall, visible from down in the canal where you are. But it was only momentary. If it wasn't dragon fire, you'll eat your hat.
I'll hold out the whip and panpipe. Do you want these?
Yeah,
Seems more your style.
I'll take them.
One thing, we might be able to destroy the pipe and still use the whip if it's magical, but probably better to destroy them both when we're done.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you.
Yeah, let's go fight a dragon. Feel like there's enough chaos at this point. We just scaled that wall.
When you guys pull yourself up out of the canal, you see a still alive one of the Yuan-ti pureblood, badly charred on one side of his body, writhing in the dirt on this side of the wall. And just as you guys pull yourself out of the water, you hear a crash as a second one, also badly charred, falls right next to him. This one already dead.
Look
And
up
then
to
you
the
hear
top
a
of the wall.
yell high above you, and looking up, you see this red Dragonborn, one of the Taskmaster's slaves, peering down, looking directly at you.
Raazu waves.
You wave to
I'll
him?
say in Yuan-ti, we're not your enemy. Actually, I'll start in Draconic. Let's see if this guy still has his original language at all.
You tell him you're not his enemy?
Yeah.
You see his eyes narrow. He understands what you said. And then he kind of looks back over his shoulder, and he barks some kind of order in Yuan-ti. Red, you hear him say, "Bring that one forth." And after a moment, two of his slave companions drag this snake-armed Malison over to the side of the wall, who already looks bloodied. He already looks like he's been overcome. And they pitch him over the wall at you. And as they do, the Dragonborn looks down and says, "Prove it." Roll initiative.
Seems fair to me.
Red thinks to himself, freaking any Yuan-ti would just kill this one. It's one less Yuan-ti, who cares?
I also picture like Red just giggling like a madman as he's just stabbing this.
He's
You
just
guys
like,
have pulled yourself out of the canal. This snake-armed Malison has crashed into the ground next to you, and he's laying prone, and he's already been injured. So yeah, Red, you win initiative.
Move up adjacent to him, pull out my rapier, and do the standard ready in action for when Raazu's adjacent.
So move up next to him, and then as soon as Raazu gets in there...
Yep, I ready in action to stab him when Raazu is within 5 feet.
Alright, well he gets his turn next, and he pulls himself up to his feet with some difficulty. He still has multi-attack. Make sure I'm using the right rolls here. Snakes for arms.
Snake boy.
Snurson.
Snake boy.
I got an 8,
Nope,
and I have a 20.
that'll be a yep.
You can't take poison damage. 4 points of piercing damage as this Malison desperately lashes out with his snake arms, and one of them manages to sink its fangs into you. The other one misses.
Let's uncanny that down to 2.
Okay.
Oh, that's just rude.
Raazu, this thing is absolutely desperately and will fight for its life.
Raazu will close to. She did. Raazu does also speak Draconic, so she did understand the prove it part. So she will close to stab this guy with the trident.
All right,
so
actually, I have to stab
by all
him
means.
first.
Yeah.
That'll hit an armor class of 20.
That'll hit.
Let's go ahead and do 37 damage.
And that's enough. All Raazu has to do in this fight is step forward and look intimidating.
She's really good at it.
Yeah.
And Red, you just put your rapier through the back of this thing's mouth as it's turning towards to fight off Raazu coming in from another side. And you feel the thing's body go slack as you wrench your sword free. You look up at the Dragonborn. He's glaring down at you. For a moment, you don't know what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then he turns back to somebody you can't see, says another order in Yuan-ti. He's telling them to drop a rope. And after a moment, a rope ladder comes flinging over the side of the wall.
Yeah, climb up.
Scramble up.
Who's going up first?
Red.
Raazu. Oh, go ahead.
You both kind of have a slap fight at the base of the wall. Who's going up first? Red?
Yeah.
Okay. Why couldn't they throw 2 ladders? Getting up to the top of the wall. So you guys are up here behind the snake pens. You see just many dead slaves at the base of this wall. It looks like what has happened is some of the Yuan-ti have come back here, using the snakes to defend themselves, have killed many slaves. However, they can't get up the wall at this point because this Dragonborn, who was one of the taskmasters, and it looks like he's got 5 or 6 slaves under him, have barricaded this stairway.
Mm-hmm.
So there are hostiles down at ground level, including many of these snakes. Regular snakes, monstrosities made out of snakes. Nothing quite as scary as you saw behind the necropolis. But for the moment, the Dragonborn seems to be holding the ground here.
Raazu sighs. Really could use Birdie's spell right here.
And the Dragonborn speaks to you in Draconic, looking over the two of you. And he just seems dumbfounded that you're even there. And he just bluntly asks who you are, what you're doing here.
We've already killed Esta. We're here to free all the slaves.
Iha is her name.
Yeah.
He asks you what you mean by free all the slaves.
Overthrow the city and let you return to your homes, or maybe get rid of all Yuan-ti and allow this to be a new place for you to live more equitably.
He asks you if you've had word from Esta, the Waterman.
No.
He tells you there's been a great amount of fighting, spurred on by Nuklu, the Goliath. Something about food rationings. He thinks it's only a matter of time before one of the other taskmasters manages to take this section of the city back and take this wall back from him. You learn that he and one of the taskmasters, a bear man named Arcadios, are essentially on your side of this fight. As soon as the opportunity presented itself that there might be manner of escape or freeing themselves, that they were going to latch onto it. The rest of the taskmasters, however, are very loyal to the city. What you learn is that one of the abominations came down from the temple with several Malisons and managed to defeat Arcadios and Nuklu and drag them in chains into the fighting pit where they're currently held.
That's where we need to go.
He's on the wall right now contemplating whether he has enough manpower to fight his way to the pits, free Arcadios, and then get out safely. And that's where you guys showed up miraculously. And he says that in desperation, he prayed to the Red Star for assistance and was not expecting an answer.
Raazu shakes her head and says, "We're not agents of the Red Star by any means."
It depends on your interpretation. We have 3 more allies inside the city who are trying to free someone. It's annoying religious shit. I wouldn't bore you with it. I'd say Raazu and I should probably get our way to the pit then. Hopefully a lot of the other matriarchs are busy fighting amongst themselves, given the power vacuum that should be going on right now.
Okay. The direct path to the pit, like these stairs are not passable at the moment, and the fields between here and there are taken up with fighting. Lots and lots of snake monsters being commanded by the Malisons. At this point, they've mopped up what rebels were in the area. But passing through that area, just the two of you, is going to be extraordinarily dangerous.
I think we could go by the way of the channels.
You mean come back in the channel from this side of the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing you could do.
Yeah.
All right,
That's the most reasonable way to go. Let's do it.
Yep.
And I'll tell him, if you don't think you can hold the wall anymore, just get out of here. Do we know any ways other than that channel that we explored to actually leave this secluded valley?
You've
Like,
heard tell that
way?
there are lots of ways in and out. The ones that you're familiar with are the ones you used to come in, the entrance through the lab, and Pactot had a third entrance that he was using along the north wall.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure where that is.
Do we think they cleaned up the lab enough that people could get out? I mean, they have to go underwater to leave through there anyway.
Yeah, they don't have the ability to breathe water like we do.
Yeah.
He tells you that he wouldn't trust any of the waterways because nobody has seen or heard from Esta since the fighting began. Esta is known to be one of the more loyal taskmasters. He's the waterman.
Fair point. All right, if you see an Aarakocra woman, a a very smug ass kobold or a white dragonborn come through, and they're looking for us. They're our friends. And so tell them where we went.
He tells you that he will hold this section of wall until he hears word of your glorious victory, of your glorious death.
Very well.
So you guys are going back over the wall and coming in through the canal here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's get height checks from the two of you going through the area to get to your destination.
I only have 2 stealth points left, just so you know, right?
Yeah. That's 24.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have to flush my last 2 stealth points for 2.
Red, are you spending any?
No. I figure Raazu will give me away if...
She's helpful like that. Raazu, what was your roll?
It was a 2.
Oh, she rolled a 2. Okay. And then used her 2 stealth points.
Yes.
Which entrance into the slave pits are you attempting to come in? The widest water entrance would be here or here, but all of these doors also go in on land.
I think we just need to get to the pits and we can pull ourselves up out of the canal and then go in through the door.
Okay.
Because we don't know the underwater. We don't know how
Yeah.
the underwater is laid out underneath the pits. So I would say come to here and then just go through the door.
Okay. Let's get dexterity saving throws from both of you.
Got +4 to this.
Thank you. Ooh. I need it.
16.
20.
16 and 20. You guys are pulling yourself up onto the bridge right in front of this door. And as you do, there are several thunks as arrows hit the door, being fired by Yuan-ti from over here on this island. You see another one is releasing essentially water moccasins, swimming snakes, down into the canal, which are very swiftly heading in your direction.
Through the door.
Head on into the room.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take our 15-minute break there, as both of your teams are now in sufficient amounts of danger that I think we can enjoy some tension here.